name is Frida Savannah, and I'm here this afternoon talking with Kiela Gilbert, the founder of the Alpha Center for Divorce Mediation. Hi, Kiela.
Hi, Frida. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So let's just get started with why you think Alpha has been so successful. For 30 years, you're celebrating your 30th anniversary, which is quite an accomplishment.
It's amazing. It's been quite a journey, and I give most of the credit to our clients. They're really what I think of as the cream of the crop. People who are in the worst period of their lives, but they have the wisdom to step forward in the right direction. You know, it's such an emotional time. There's so much anger and anxiety and fear, and people get caught up in that and they start acting on it. It really leads them down to a much more destructive way of dealing with it. And our clients come in with that same pain, that same hurt, but they just have the wisdom to know that this is so much better, so much smarter for them and their families. So yeah, they get most of the credit, but our professionals are also extraordinary. They come from, you know, legal, we have lawyers, we have accountants, we have parenting therapists and financial counselors. They're just this incredible team of people who obviously could make a lot more money doing other lines of work, but they're really devoted to our clients and keeping fees down and giving them a comprehensive look at everything that they need to address when they're going through this major life transition. So they're I think given a lot of credit, and I think we've all been through divorce, almost all of us. There's a couple that haven't, but I think that makes a big difference too, because if you haven't been there, it's really hard to really understand just how painful and frightening it is as a major life transition. So yeah, it's the clients mostly, but the team is amazing.
What is a smart divorce?
Well, I think of three key resources we have. We have our time, we have our money, and we have our stress level. And those are three important factors that come into play when we're going through divorce. So it's smart to not take months. Money's a big issue, especially when what you have is getting cut significantly. And if you come into the Alpha program, we are focused on giving you everything you need, but keeping as much money in your pockets as we can. So it's just smart to be mindful of money. And then finally, the stress of divorce is unbelievable. I think you've been through it, and many people we know have been through it. So we can't make it go away here at Alpha Center, but we do reduce it in that we're not fueling fires. What we're doing is leading people in a positive direction to dismantle their past and create two independent futures for themselves and for their kids. So it's smart to reduce the time, the money, and the stress as much as you can. And so that's a focus of our program and our services.
Some of the other things that Alpha does that makes it quite different is, you know, you don't want to kind of send people off into this do-it-yourself world, this kind of, we can figure it out kind of on our own. That's where the pitfalls are, right?
That is one of the major pitfalls. The do-it-yourself divorce sounds very attractive, and we're all doing a lot more ourselves with the help of YouTube and other resources. But this is, I liken it to me fixing my car. It's not going to run very well, and this is probably one of the most important agreements or contracts that you're going to sign in your lifetime. And so to not bring in the professionals who really know what needs to be done and all the details that have to be addressed is to really leave leave yourself coming up short and opening the door to so many conflicts and problems down the road. So very few people can do it themselves effectively, although there's a strong urge to do that because it saves money, and I guess it dovetails with what we hear a lot. It's sometimes from other professionals that offer a simple divorce. You know, to me that's not being truthful. There's nothing simple about divorce, but at the same time, it's attractive to someone going through it because it sounds like, oh, they're going to make it simple. Well, they may well do that, but you're going to have a lot of loose ends and a lot of problems down the road that you could have and should have addressed at this point. And it's a missed opportunity because you really are restructuring your life, and there's so many details that make such a big difference to what your life looks like after divorce. And they need to be attended to.
Skipping over them is going to come back in the long run. So it may seem a little, more direct at the outset, but that is not the reality on the ground. Let's talk about children. Children are such an important, not for all, but for many couples divorcing have children. Tell us where Alpha steps in that regard.
Well, the kids are the most important priority to us, actually. And when couples come in the door who have children, that is the first thing that we address because they are the most important thing. I always say children handle divorce the way their parents do. And those parents that go off into ugly conflicts and litigation really do long-term harm to their children. And the people who come through our program, first of all, are modeling a good way of dealing with conflict that their children are watching. I always say what they see is so much more important than what you tell them and what they hear. So it does set a good example, but it also leaves the family more intact for co-parenting relationships. You're going to be parents for life. There are going to be weddings, graduations, and all of those things. And you don't want to be the crazy makers there, making your children uncomfortable at these high points in their lives. So yes, children are very important, and those are the first decisions that we make here, not with a lawyer being the jack of all trades. We bring in a parenting expert, a therapist who knows what kids need. And of course the parents know they know their children, so between the three of them, they build this parenting agreement that's going to help the transition and set the tempo for the rest of their lives. So yeah, the kids are really important to us. So
important, yeah. And sometimes overlooked,
Absolutely.
Through a more, kind of litigious divorce situation.
There's a lot of reasons to stay away from divorce litigation attorneys when you're going through this, but the kids are the most important reason, because the kids really do get torn apart, and they have to testify, and it's just ugly and painful and unnecessary, totally unnecessary. And then, on the topic of people going to litigation attorneys to fight it out, you're going to spend so much more money. They're going to absolutely spend, 10 times as much money as they would if they came through our program, which means that there are fewer assets, fewer dollars for the children. I often say that the people who go into litigation are sending their lawyers' kids to college and instead of their own, and it's just not wise. But the litigation process pits them against each other, and it fuels that anger, that fear, that anxiety, and you pay these lawyers by the hour, and so the more you fight, the more money they make. It's not a good place for families to be. there are some situations where a litigation attorney is necessary. If we have a situation where one party's being abused, that's a playing field we can never level. So we will refer them off to competent litigation attorneys because that's the best place for them. So.
But otherwise, that the litigious route can be not only costly but also ineffective, and just that adversarial environment that you spoke about is just not healthy for anyone.
It's harmful. It's harmful, emotionally. It's harmful in parenting relationships, and the amount of money that you spend in just coming to a final decision, and maybe a master or a judge is making those decisions for you. That money those are resources that you could be using to rebuild your life, and it's totally misdirected. And the years, like our goal is to have people have what they need to have a final, thorough, comprehensive agreement within 3 months of the time they walk in our doors. So we don't rush too fast, but we don't take forever. But if they're in litigation, it can take years and years. And if you have children, every time something comes up, the child needs braces or whatever, you don't have a mechanism for actually just resolving it because your relationship is adversary, right? So they're back in front of the court to change child support, to change, to meet the children's needs. And here, our couples are empowered to actually make those decisions, and they know we're here if they need help, and this is the wiser way to handle it. But I really definitely feel bad for families who end up in litigation, especially the children, because it wasn't their choice.
And you do that. Maybe that's why you like to talk about how Alpha goes beyond just the law. A divorce is far more than just a legal matter.
Yeah, that's something I think we try to convey to our clients. It isn't just a legal matter; it's a life matter, and there's so many parts to it that if you don't address, again, you're robbing yourself of opportunities to restructure your life in a more healthy, stable manner. There's budgeting. Nobody likes to do budgets, but you ought to know what your life is going to look like in that detail before you go signing a legal agreement that's going to be enforceable throughout your life. There's tax issues that make a big difference. Financial planning. There's just so many components, life components beyond the law that should be addressed. And when they are addressed properly, it just makes it so much smoother in the next chapter of their lives. Without that, it's like landmines coming up. If they haven't dealt properly with taxes at the end of the next year, they're going to get a surprise. They should have adjusted their withholding because it changed their tax status. And I mean, that's just one example of the missed opportunities to eliminate future conflict and to set a stable post-divorce life.
And what is it that well, let me just go back for one moment, because that gives, I think, people just a complete kind of picture of what Alpha does that's so different than really any other kind of service when it comes to, as you said, one of the most, if not the most difficult situations you might find yourself in your life. And what is it that you always kind of promise your clients? What does Alpha give them that they're not going to find somewhere else?
Well, I think personally, it's about really giving them the guidance and the options that I didn't have when I was going through it. In fact, my divorce is what led me to start this. It was the toughest time of my life. I was so confused, and I made so many mistakes, and things that I would do differently if there was a do-over, which there isn't in life. So they were opportunities to learn, but I want to be able to help other people avoid those mistakes, those setbacks as much as possible, because I know personally how painful it is, and anything I can do to ease the pain and ease the transition for others is that's what my mission is in life. But beyond that, it's we promise them honesty, integrity, and 100% of our focus on what's good for them, as opposed to what's good for us or the other professionals. That's just who we are, and why we do the good work that we do.
Is there anything you might want to add that we haven't touched on this afternoon?
I guess just a word of caution, because now, after 30 years, mediation is a much more commonly known word, and people know that it's going to be less expensive and more beneficial, and so they go out and Google. It's important for them to be really careful, because there are many attorneys out there who are representing that they're mediators. They put it on their websites and sort of troll for that mediation business, but they're litigators. So it's kind of like a sheep in wolf's clothing, not apparent to the client, but they'll call up thinking that they're getting someone who's going to provide them with mediation, and then they get sucked into a litigation situation. And I have to say, there are many fine attorneys out there. It is not, and they're necessary. They do good work, but there are many who are more interested in their pocketbooks than their clients' financial situations. So I just want to caution people to be careful. And if they do believe that they need a litigation attorney, we will make referrals to attorneys who we know are reputable and keep them away from the wolves.
So at Alpha, it's fair to say you are exclusively a firm that focuses on mediation and mediation alone.
30 years we've spent focusing just on mediating divorces, and so we've got it down to a science, but still we think it's very important to listen to our clients, so we're always checking in with them to see what we could do better or what we're doing well. So yeah, we have developed a very good program and amazing professionals to serve our clients, but every day we do what we can to better serve our clients, because they're why we're here.
Thank you so much. That's very helpful.
Thank you, Frida.